tires that tend to slow you down a little bit. Little Al, your tires could be worn a little bit more than Tracy's.
For all that, though, Tracy is now beginning to pick up the speed again. He's up to 2.1 seconds ahead. Of course, the gap was down to just a car length or two, but he's actually able now, you see Tracy there, to pull away.
Christian Fittipaldi, 4 laps down, running in 7th. The factor just ahead of Al Unser Jr. Paul Tracy, 2.1 seconds ahead of Little Al, who now has those 3 cars once again to contend with. And Paul Tracy, every time he cuts a corner, is doing his best to put more traffic between himself and Al Unser Jr. Look at the spread as Al Unser Jr. has fallen back, and we close to within 9 miles of the finish.
And if you look at Little Al, he's been running a little bit lower on the track. Where he's been passing cars on the high side, he's passing them on the low side now. That means that his tires are a little bit worn out.
You still have to keep thinking about fuel in both of these cars. Gary Gerald?
And in the Newman-Haas camp, the engineers huddle around the computers. Carl Haas bites down a little harder on that big cigar. No more information from him. They still think they can make it. I still think it's going to be awful close. Let's go to Jack.
Well, Gary Gerald, let's update you on Roger Penske's radio transmission. Just moments ago, he radioed to Al, look, do what you can do, but bring it home.
This is, of course, a great battle, not only between 2 terrific drivers, but between 2 legendary car owners, Penske and Carl Haas.
I just want to mention real quick, these cars hold 40 gallons of fuel. The fuel is methanol alcohol. Uses about twice as much as gasoline. We haven't mentioned that all day.
7 laps to go. Al Unser Jr. still in pursuit, but still falling a bit backwards. The question, of course, is going to be fuel. Do either of these cars, do any of the top 4 have enough fuel? They are all going to gamble to the finish. In the pits, they say one thing. They say, no problem, we're going to run to the finish. We do the math up here. It doesn't come out quite the same way.
As the gap continues to widen, it makes you wonder if this man, Paul Tracy, is maybe standing on the fuel just a little bit too hard. No way to know yet. It'll happen near the end.
And Newman-Haas seems to have a good handle on what they can do with fuel. Al Unser Jr. seems to, for the moment, have decided to go ahead and let him run. Perhaps he's counting on a fuel problem by race leader Paul Tracy. He is now the leader by 5.1 seconds. But still, the question is fuel, and on this track, all he has to do is have a small hiccup in that engine, and Al Unser Jr. will be all over him.
But meanwhile, lurking back in 3rd place is Michael Andretti. So far, the only race this year which he has not been able to lead, but he's running 3rd now.
Keep in mind, Paul Tracy's already done 76 laps. He's in the 70 right now, 71 right now. He's already done 76. Got 5 to go. You can see by that how close our measurements in our heads are.
Well, the math is going to be close for Paul Tracy. No doubt in the Newman-Haas pit, they've just decided to let him run. Put their hands down. They're just watching the scoring and see where it goes. Same thing for Al Unser Jr. And just a reminder, Michael Andretti is a lap behind the leader in 3rd place. Teo Fabi is 2 laps behind the leader in 4th, and Jack Villeneuve and Robbie Gordon have just swapped positions, with Robbie Gordon taking over 5th place from Villeneuve. They're 3 laps behind the leader.
Hold your breath.
Al Unser Jr. 5 seconds back.
I'm convinced his tires are just worn a little bit too much to have the speed that he's had earlier.
Tires, or is he playing a waiting game with Paul Tracy's fuel tank? Here's Tracy as he flashes down the front straightaway and across the line once more. Al Unser Jr. there he comes across the line. 2 laps to go.
The Penske team has won twice this year. The Newman-Haas team just once, but they lead this one now.
Paul Tracy, in fact, was that winner. As he comes off the corner, he'll see the white flag, indicating just 1 more mile to go. And he's got to be wondering about fuel. Paul Tracy takes and acknowledges the white flag. Here comes Al Unser Jr. across the line. Less than a mile to go now. Al Unser Jr. closes in just a bit. In fact, he crossed the line just under 2 seconds behind Paul Tracy, as Paul Tracy relaxes just a bit. Now screams down the back straightaway, makes that turn into turn 4. Al Unser Jr. continues his close. Paul Tracy, you watch for momentum, make sure he doesn't come out of the throttle or out of fuel as Al Unser Jr. closes right behind Paul Tracy, but it's not good enough. Paul Tracy takes his 2nd win of the year. Al Unser Jr. comes home in 2nd place. It's Paul Tracy's 10th career win.
He's only finished 3 races this year, Paul, but he's won 2 of those 3.
Tracy did one good job on that.
Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Carl, I thought you were going to bite that cigar in half. What were your nerves like those last 10 miles?
Well, actually, I was staying relatively calm. Normally, I don't. Tracy drove the race of his life, and the crew did a fantastic job in setting that car up. A lot of praise should go to Brian Lyle and the whole crew. And I think it was terrific. Paul drove a fantastic race, and then just, you know, coming back from Indy with a big letdown just helps a little bit.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
So Paul Tracy has taken his second win on an oval and his second win of the season. The winner here, the Miller Genuine Draft 200. Al Unser Jr. second, Michael Andretti third, Teo Bobby fourth, and Robbie Gordon in fifth. We'll be back to talk with Paul. With 22 cars running at the finish, Paul Tracy comes from 7th starting position to take the win. Here's Jack Arute.
Well, Tracy, the first question everybody wants to know is, what did the gas gauge say? How much fuel did you have on board?
Well, we were fine. You know, we ended up going full rich when we got in behind Al there to battle with him with 20 or 30 laps to go. But you know, the crew did a great job in the pits. That's what got us ahead. I knew we were quicker on full tanks, and Al was quicker in the middle, so I just wanted to sit on him for a bit, and he went loose, and we were able to keep the tires under it. And I just want to say to the whole team, and Carl and Paul, this bud's for you.
Hey, what about you got a little loose? It looked like you got up in the gray stuff there near the end. What went through your mind, and what happened there?
I got up there in the gray, and I thought I was out. I wanted to go around a group of guys, and I got up in the marbles, and nearly went off, but I was able to save it and keep Al behind. And I can't say enough about the crew and the job that they've done at the Kmart Budweiser team. And I'll say hi to my wife and kids at home. They're at home. I'll be home tonight.
Hey, 10th career victory in 54 starts. A little bit of stubble here. Are you starting to grow a goatee? Is that some superstition that's going on, or what?
Well, I was just trying to get some attitude with the team, get everybody pumped up. And, you know, this is a great weekend in Milwaukee to get another win after the disappointment in Indy. And I can't wait to go on to Detroit.
Attitude is everything, Gary Gerald.
Well, here's a man who's really had an afternoon. What happened in your mind when you saw Paul Tracy almost lose it on 2 occasions in that last 15 or 20 miles?
Well, it was just, you know, it was a deal with traffic. Me and Paul were so even that if we came across traffic and got held up at all, then that's when you do the pass. And Tracy got put up in the gray down in 1 and 2, and he got way out there, and then I knew he was going to have the rubber on his tires, you know, the excess rubber on his tires, and he went down into 3 and 4, and he almost lost it down in 3 and 4, but then, you know, he did a great job and gathered it up and went on.
How hard was it, or was it difficult at all, to come back and get focused, putting aside the disappointment of not being at Indianapolis a week ago?
Well, you know, it was... it wasn't hard to do, you know. You get in these champ cars and you're focused right away, and so
especially on the mile.
You betcha. And so you know, I just want to congratulate the Newman Haas team. They did a great job, and I want to congratulate my team. You know, they did a great job. My guys did a super job all day, and you know, they came back and they were focused. You know, the whole team is just wonderful, and I'm really proud of them.
Enjoy this one, Junior.
Thank you.
A little disappointed because he's second, but still a lot of points and a lot gained. Jack?
Well, Gary, points are very important when you're chasing for the IndyCar World Series PPG Cup, but for Michael Andretti, third place was good. It wasn't great, and you're not smiling.
Well, at least we got points. You know, the car just was a bit of a struggle all day. Just didn't have the balance right.
When you talk about the balance with a race car, to the uneducated, what does that mean? How could you describe that to the fella down the street that maybe drives his passenger car?
It means the balance between the front and the rear. Either one end or the other is sliding, and I was having a problem with my front end. I just couldn't get it to stay under me all day, and because of that, I couldn't carry throttle the way I'd like through the corners, and we just couldn't compete with the other guys.
So much promise all season, have led so many laps, and yet winless coming into this race, and now on to Detroit and some road racing venues before you get a shot back later at a mile oval. Is it beginning to play on your mind a little bit to be close but no cigar yet?
No, I think I'm really looking forward to the next few races. You know, I think there should be good races for us. We've run good in there in the past, and the way the car's been performing this year on the road courses, hopefully that'll be good too.
We talk about parity in the IndyCar competition this year. Does that account a little bit for how tough it's been for you to crack victory lane, the fact that there are so many people that are capable of winning?
Well, obviously, yeah, but, you know, we've been in a position to win every race. It's just that something always would stop us from getting there. So, you know, at least we've been in that position, and, you know, hopefully one of these times it'll work out for us.
Well, Paul, you can believe that he's lit the fuse, and sooner or later it's going to explode into a trip to victory lane.
Margin of victory was 0.8 of a second. Average speed 137.3 miles an hour. Not a record. Michael still has the record. There's the way we stand in the Nations Cup with Paul Tracy win, moving Canada just a little bit closer. Fourth place right now is Italy. Teo Fabi did his best today, Gary, but couldn't come up with a win.
Well, let's find out about the day for Teo Fabi. Teo, you started there on the pole, you had the lead, and then in getting into that traffic situation, and you've got to be lucky as well as good to able to hang on to it, I guess.
No, I think we had some problem in traffic. I think the car was very good when I was running on my own, but in traffic I really had some problem, you know, going on the outside of other people, and I think that's where we lost most of the time. And then we had bad luck with the yellow because we just pitted 2 laps before the yellow came out, so that's where we lost third place, really.
But still early in a season with a new team, it looks as if this team is showing the muscle that it can be a winner, and I'm sure you must feel that way.
Well, I think we had a chance to win a race already this year, Australia, maybe even Long Beach, so we are there for sure, and we're going to win for sure.
We look forward to seeing you next week in Detroit.
Thanks.
Teo Fabi, as the race is complete here, and that reminder, the next Sunday at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central and Pacific on ABC Sports. The Indy cars roar into Detroit. The ITT Automotive Detroit Grand Prix. And then it's the International Race of Champions. More racing next Sunday right here on ABC Sports. Back at the Miller Genuine Draft 200, don't you love the Milwaukee Mile? As we take a look at the unofficial results, doesn't seem like there's going to be any contest to this, Sam Posey, with Paul Tracy taking the win over Allenzer Jr., followed by Michael Teo Fabi, Robbie Gordon. Looking down through the second half of the top 12, Christian Fittipaldi with a good finish. We mentioned him at starting, still not the finish I think he would have hoped for. Jill DeFerrin, Jimmy Vasser, Fernandez, Bazell, and Scott Pruitt. In 13th, Bobby Rahal, then Mauricio Guzman, Carlos Guerrero with really a nice run. Eliseo Salazar with that spin, that cost him. Danny Sullivan never really did get the car under him. Buddy Lazier in 18th. Hiro Matsushita, Lynn St. James started last place, was able to keep the car alive and move forward. Stefan Johansson, Alessandro Zampedri, Emerson Fittipaldi, Brian Herta, Andre Ribeiro with problems very early on, and Eddie Cheever. Robbie Gordon finished this race in 5th place. Let's go to Jackaroo.
Well, Paul, let's talk to Robbie. First of all, a pass at the end of the race was not only for position, but it gave you enough points to move into 2nd place in the PPG IndyCar World Series points. Were you aware of that?
Well, we knew we had to try to beat Villeneuve because he is the points leader right now, and every bit of points he gains on us is more points we have to make up later on. So we knew we had to go for it at the end, and we were racing with him for about the last 30 laps.
Well, one of the things that we've noticed all year, Robbie, is that, yes, you still have the brashness. Yes, you're still willing to throw the car around, but there seems to be a level of maturity that's coming with letting the racetrack come to you when you don't have the best handling car to gut it out. What type of day was it today within those parameters?
Well, today was a really tough day. The car was sliding around quite a bit. You know, we did the best we could. You know, it's a 17-race championship, and that's what we're after now that we didn't win Indy. Let's try to back it up with the championship.
Came into the pits. First stop, I believe it was the first or second stop, pull in front of your teammate, Christian Fittipaldi. Talk us through what happened after that.
Well, coming down pit lane, I knew Christian was in the pits, and I figured I would let Christian pull out before I went in. And so when I went to go let him come out, he stalled the car, and then I had to go into my pit kind of cockeyed. You know, it probably cost us one of our laps right there, and that was a determining factor for, you know, a better finish than we had.
Points so very important. You alluded to the fact that you didn't win the Indianapolis 500, so now you go for the championship. What does that do to each and every race? Do you give up a little bit in the chase for the win, looking for points?
I think so. I think you race the race a little more conservative because the championship, what's everybody's after out here. You know, we've won a race already this year, and if we can win the championship, we'd be ecstatic.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you're not going to become one of these smooth drivers that's going to all the time say everything's so good. The great thing about Robbie Gordon in the past is you weren't afraid to throw it into the corner and go for the jugular. We're not losing that now, are we?
Oh, don't worry. We'll be ready to go race next weekend.
Gary?